everyone, I'm Nikki Haverstock. I am a self-published author with over a dozen books. I need to look it up because I keep forgetting if it's 14 or 15. Yay. Self-published cozy mysteries on Amazon, and I'm here to talk just for a little bit, it's a little bit writing vlog, it's a little bit self-editing because I just finished the rough draft of my latest book. So, and I'm about to send it off to the dev/line editor. It's not uncommon to have someone who does both of those because they're both kind of higher level. So they kind of fix things at the down the line level, you know, moving lines around and getting a flow to feel right and making sure that things flow naturally. And that like when you have dialogue and it's broken up with a big thought or internal explanation, that the next line makes sense. It's easy to follow, so you don't have to go back up and find out if Mitch asked Fred a question, that when Fred answers 3 paragraphs later that you instantly know what they're talking about, as opposed to going, wait, what is he saying yes to, and going back. That's one of my most common things. Are you happy today? And then long thought about all this, you know, his dead wife and stuff, and then coming back and saying, sure. And me getting a note saying, it's kind of difficult to know what he's saying sure to. And so he said, yes, I'm happy today. Anyway. So I want to talk a little bit. So I finish up my book. I usually, what I've been doing more recently is that I'll finish it, walk away, tell my husband, we go do a little something to relax, and then he reads it. This gives me just a little break. You know, if you've ever heard advice, they're like, put it in a drawer and don't look at it for a year. That is great if you don't have a job. Like if your job isn't writing, if you are not ready to publish something, yeah, put it in a drawer, go work on something else, go back. You're going to see it with fresh eyes. It's going to be really clear. You're going to forget a lot of the scenes so that when you read it, you're going to see all of those jumps that are too big and stuff. But for a lot of us, someone like me who's building a career in publishing, I can't just sit on a manuscript for a year or 3. I had someone early on in my career be like, sit on this for 3 years and come back to it. And I was like, 3 years? That 3 years, by the way, would be like right now. And I have published 8 books since then. And, you know, so I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying a lot of people can't afford to do it. So I give it to my husband and he goes through and he marks typos and he gives me some general feedback. Sometimes I have a tendency to get caught up on food. And so I'll start writing too much about food and he's like, I don't really understand why you have this, basically a menu in the middle of your chapter. He's pointed out, you know, he enjoys the books and so he can read them as a reader would and say things like, I didn't understand why this scene was here. I found this a little off-putting, stuff like that. But in general, most of it is typos, and then he comes and tells me how great and wonderful and brilliant I am because that's part of his job, is to be encouraging. And then I do a read-through. What I discovered recently, yesterday or Saturday, in fact, was that I do better to incorporate all of his stuff and then do my read-through because it is very hard to sink into a book and really experience it like a reader would while also attending to a bunch of changes. And because of how track changes work, which is the most common way to get feedback, which is when you turn the track changes on, they delete a word and fix it. It's oh, those dogs. Anyway, when you hit accept, it automatically jumps to the next one, which means if there's nothing for a page, suddenly everything's, then you got to scroll back and find where you were and all that. So I do that. So right now I'm doing my read through. I'm marking down some questions for my, to send on to my editor. So when I, you know, a lot of times I'll send her a list of questions. So I already have an email open. Oh, I was going to read them to you, but. So they have things like, I'm trying to do this with this relationship, this couple that previously almost dated and now he's married. I have a note in there saying that my goal is to reset them back to a sort of family level where they get along, they enjoy each other, but there's not a relationship tension because, spoiler, you know, moving forward when X, Y, and Z happens, I'm not going to say it because I haven't actually committed to it. I want them to be in a friend place. I want them to be able to, I want, and the goal here is I want her to feel that she's moved past it, you know, that point where she really feels like she's over him. So I make notes to her because it's important for her to know what I'm going for so she, you know, if it comes back and it's like, oh, well, I thought you were trying to revive the sexual tension, she can kind of help me. And then I usually have some specific questions, like, did I tie up this end well enough? Did I, you know, I came in about 5,000 less than I would ideally like to, 5,000 words less. And so I put a note in there saying, anywhere that you think you would benefit from more explanation, just add a note that says add more here. Or if you see an entire scene, you know, I am someone who wants to cut to the chase. Let's get there. Let's go. And so sometimes I combine scenes. So that's the work that I will do. And then when I am done with this, I will send it off to my editor. And then I should jump right into the next book. And so I will probably do a video, if there's any interest, in how I start a book. Okay, bye.